Oh, I think it's on. Are we live right now? Guys, what's going on? And happy Tuesday. We have to go, 2 days without football? We get some football on Thursday. So welcome into the stream. We have baseball going on tonight. One or two WNBA games going on. And then we're going to this is the time of the week where we're going to get prepped for football, for college and NFL in terms of money line spreads, totals. We're going to make sure that we're going to be looking for some really good value over on OddsJam's Positive EV tool, the sportsbook screen. We're going to use a couple different tools. I'm going to show you some of my favorite ways that I love to look for some great value early in the week. That's when the ball is kicked off on Saturday and Sunday. You're going to look back and you're going to say, wow, this is really good. By the way, to do Tuesday, Hawaiian Tuesdays. So always rocking a Hawaiian shirt on Tuesdays. But we'll get into some DGF, right? Well, let's get into some DFS. And let me kind of just minimize myself over here. Hopefully you guys are having a strong Tuesday. Recap what's going on. Connor, Anton, what's going on, guys? What's up? And we're going to get things started off over here with looking at Better Dabble, Fliff, PrizePicks, Underdog, and we're going to see what the best plays are out there. By the way, would love to hear from you guys if any of you tailed the parlay play slip that we put together yesterday on the stream, just to kind of showcase to you guys. Yeah, we'll allow it. So at the moment, we hit our first two plays on Aaron Jones and Rafaela. This is a 4-pick slip I put to hit for 1,300. And I'm waiting on this play. We still have this. This is on Thursday. This play is going to take place. But this was looking promising when I last checked it. So we'll see what's going on. But got a nice promising parlay play slip going on at the moment. So we got a couple different options here for PrizePicks, 6 or 5-pick slip, whatever you prefer. I'm going to go after the 5-pick entry, and we're just going to go ahead and click on the one-click bet feature. Now, with here, guys, looks like we lost some projections. So this is now a 4-pick slip, which I'm totally cool with, right? It's Taco Tuesdays. We could take this Sheehan play over 4.5 and grab this and run this as a flex entry. So I'm okay with that, right? One of our 5-pick slips, one of our picks from the 5 picks got bumped. So we're just going to put Sheehan in as the taco, and we're going to rock this right now as a flex entry. And there we go. We'll go ahead and share this with you guys right now. So this is going to be our first 5-pick slip over on PrizePicks. Low hold and select the DFS book. Yeah. Well, the strategy, Hamad, is, the low holds tool is it's a good question. The low holds tool is very similar to the positive EV tool. The hold percentage is how sports books make money. The lower the hold percentage, the less money that flows into the sportsbook's pocket, the more into your pocket. So typically going after plays that have a low hold percentage is a very optimal strategy. At this time of the year, normally we're not using the low holds tool all that often because the positive EV tool has a lot of plays, but the low holds tool is very similar. It's all about price. And so the lower, if you can find plays where the sportsbook's only making a 1% hold or less, that's really an advantageous play for you. So I like Alex's strategy there. It's a great strategy to use. You can use that. So you can either use the positive EV tool to find plays that have an edge. You can use an optimizer, which is the similar thing, or you could use the low holds tool. So those are all various different strategies that you can use that plays are going to have some type of edge. 3-pick entry on Dabble for anyone that uses Dabble. This would be a 3-pick slip. Hopefully where you live, you can use and play collegiate player props. So check that out. Check that out for sure. And looks like we have some 6-pick entries. Again, for myself, guys, I'd rather play 3-pick powers. So like we have this 3-pick power down here on PrizePicks, and I would just remove one of these plays and throw in the either Travis Kelce free square or, one of the Taco Tuesday plays for sure. 1,000% Umar. I agree with what Umar said there. So no doubt about that. Right. Sometimes you're going to find plays that are on the low holds page that are also on the positive EV page. That's going to be the case. Sometimes they're not because there is an edge, but it's just a smaller edge. Low holds tool was something that we typically use during the summer months. You can use it whenever you want. It's just that the positive EV tool might not have a lot of plays like in June. And so we use the low holds page to find some other sharp plays. But again, if you're using the gold plan, you can definitely use the low holds tool to find a lot of great plays. Let's take a look at this underdog slip here. Okay. Again, I'm kind of out right now currently, guys. I'm playing 6-pick slips. That's just my personal risk tolerance. You're going to run into a lot more variance on 6-pick slips compared to 5-pick slips, which compared to less variance with 3-pick slips. So I just prefer going after 3 and sometimes 5 or 6. Again, I'm limited on PrizePicks to $5 a slip. So for me, in that instance, I don't really care. 3-play parlay, Aaron Judge, Byron Buxton, Brandon Lowe to not hit home runs with EV. You hate it. AR bets, I have no official word on that one because I would have to dive into the numbers and break down those picks individually. I'm going to say I don't have time to do that on the stream today because we have everyone in here. But so I appreciate you asking, but I don't really have an official pick because when you're talking about those types of plays, I have to find what the fair value is for each one of those plays and then multiply that and then find out what the odds you're getting. So not really, I don't have any official word on that. I'm not against it. It's just, it takes a lot of time to break down each one of those plays. And I kind of have a lot to get to today, but I appreciate you asking, brother. So again, if you want to take this 3-pick power on PrizePicks, but it looks like one of the plays bumped, and if instead you could take both of these 2 legs, come over to the NFL, and just grab the Travis Kelce free square right here. He's just got to get 1 receiving yard. Pretty simple. Play this as a power entry. I'm going to rock this for $5. And so this is another way that you can find some really good plays where you can just kind of mix and match, right? So we're going to grab this. It's exactly what I did on this Lamar Jackson play right here, where I took Lamar's free square, found 2 other EV plays, and cashed it for my max wager, right? So that's another way that you could do this. Now all you have to do is really hit 2 of these picks instead of all 3. So this is how I'm going to use my Travis Kelce free square over here. Real Deal asks, what up, Billy? I see you become the house on Bet Openly. You can fade parlays on Epic. Yeah, Real Deal. Great. I mean, something I haven't talked about a lot, but I've been fading people. I've been becoming the house over at Epic. It's a great strategy to become the house and accept people's action. Again, it's no different to what AR asked with like his 3-leg parlay on fading all those guys to not hit home runs. Becoming the house on Bet Openly, that's been a lot of fun. Where, obviously you're going to have to put up a lot of money. You're not going to, it's the opposite of parlays. Parlays, you got to put down a little bit to make a lot. If you're becoming the house, you have to put up a lot to make a little. But again, these can be very EV types of plays. So to give you an idea over here on Bet Openly, we cashed this parlay the other day. I don't need to win all 3 of these. I just need 1 to hit, right? We hit this on this one right here as well. And then if I look back to the month, I cashed this one, I cashed this one, I cashed this one, I cashed this one. So I've cashed like 5 or 6 of these in a row. $8 profit, $8 profit, $9 profit, $5 profit, $12, $6. So again, becoming the house over at Bet Openly, using OddsJam's positive EV tool, becoming the house, you don't need all of these to hit. You just need 1 to hit. And so you're in a good spot. So it's been a really good strategy over at Bet Openly, becoming the house, becoming the sportsbook, taking on the action. You can do this on Epic. Again, guys, all of these come down to what's the fair win percentage? What's your fair odds? What's the price then that you're getting it at the book? If you're getting an EV edge play, we like that, right? Now, it's slightly different when you become the house because you don't need all 3 of these picks to hit. You just need 1. And so in that case, it's going to be kind of hard to compute what your edge is. But because you only need 1 leg, the EV is a lot higher. So I would highly recommend fading the people becoming the house, fadems over on Epic. Great time. Great time. Outside of PrizePicks, you guys are coming with some really solid questions to ask to start the stream. No doubt. 3-pick dabble. We talked about this one for a little bit. Do I have a 3-pick over on Underdog? We do. Now, this only has a 1.5% edge, and I can't play collegiate player props. So I can't play this one, but it's really below my threshold, right? So the problem with 6-pick entries, guys, is that this slip has an edge. It's a good slip. But because of the variance, we're talking 6-leg parlay here. You could lose 50 of these in a row, then win your next 2 in a row, and be massively profitable. Most people mentally can't deal with losing 50 slips in a row, I don't blame you. I can't either. That's why I don't play them, right? But if you can deal with it, then these are going to be very highly profitable long-term ROI for you. The problem is that you're going to deal with some crazy variance, and most casual sports bettors either A, don't understand the math behind it, and B, they can't deal with the variance. They lose 2 parlays and they're ready to give up altogether. So most casual bettors, and I'm not trying to make fun of them, they just have zero mental toughness when it comes to sports betting. They're really playing a game that they don't understand, and that's why they lose. It's not rigged. They just don't understand the math. And so they're not really well equipped. There was a great question asked, I believe, on yesterday's stream about, someone having roughly 400 to 500 bets. Is that enough of a volume to be able to calculate your edge if you're running hot, running cold, or running right in the middle? And the answer is that's not enough. And I don't want to deter people from sports betting, but the answer is that you really need close to 10,000 bets. But if we can get over 1,000, that's a nice start. But the true answer is roughly 10,000. That's what we want to see. That's how we can really tell if you got unlucky, you ran hot, or you were right in the middle. So that's the true answer. And I don't know about you. I would assume that you're like me. You're probably not getting 10,000 bets in a year. So if you can get over 1,000, that's a much better barometer to gauge what the story is telling about your journey. Are you running hot, unlucky, or are you right in the middle? So we're looking at parlay play right now. Robbie Ray, Colson Montgomery. This Robbie Ray play, I have confidence in this play because parlay play's offering this at minus 105 on his over 5.5 Ks. FanDuel, this is 25 cents off in price. What's the difference between this price and this price? It's 25. Pinnacle's at minus 138, so thumbs up on this Robbie Ray play. I like it. Now for Colson Montgomery, different story. There's no Pinnacle odds here. There's no FanDuel odds. No offense to DraftKings, MGM, and Caesars. This looks okay, but I don't really have a sharp book that I can reference that tells me I'm receiving a good price. So I would just ignore the Montgomery play, but I would play Robbie Ray. And so when I'm looking at these plays, I like the fact that we could see Pinnacle's odds here, but I would like to see Pinnacle and FanDuel. So let's take a look at DraftKings. 3-pick entries. Passing attempts was a hot market on DraftKings pick 6 for week 1 NFL. And so this is going to be something, guys, where I actually appreciate this with DraftKings. If passing attempts or passing completions for NFL quarterbacks consistently shows up week 1, week 2, week 3, this is where you can start to fire off a couple slips. This is where you can start to get maybe an early idea of if this is worth your time to play. Again, if you guys are finding any insight, value in the streams, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Send this to your friend. Like the video. We're getting close to 7,500 subs. When we hit 7,500, we're giving away $75 to 7 people. You are eligible to win 1 time. If you have Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, you're just going to send it to me after the stream's over if you are deemed a winner. And always shout out to the people that send me their Venmo when they didn't win, but they just try to catch me slipping, and it doesn't work, but I appreciate the effort. So we're looking at passing attempts for Jaden Daniels. We're getting the over 30.5 at minus 122. So Pinnacle and FanDuel are very similarly priced here on this. And so the problem here is that we're getting a lower bar to hit this over. But the problem is like this is a 22, 21 cent difference between these two books. So if we were to price what FanDuel or Pinnacle would have, the over 30.5, this is roughly, in my opinion, the same. Maybe they would be sitting at like minus 125. So I don't believe this Daniels play has much of an EV edge. That's just my 2 cents. But again, if you believe more in OddsJam's algorithm, then you could go ahead and take this play. But I'm just not going to play it. So an example of where I would like this a bit more is maybe on his passing completions, because FanDuel's at minus 132 and DraftKings is at minus 122. So 10 cents difference is better because FanDuel and Pinnacle have this price the same. Right? I can get a little bit more excited about this play. I'm not crazy about it, but it's okay. As they say in Spanish, está bien. So, nothing really here that gets me super excited. Now, when you're dealing with receiving yards for Berhalter, while you might think that this is incredible at 36.5, it's nice. The problem is with collegiate receiving yards, 10 yards of a difference, while it makes a difference, it's a pretty wide gap in what we're looking at, right? If we're talking about player assists in the NBA, or pitcher strikeouts, normally a difference of 1 is a really big deal. With receiving yards, there's kind of a gap, right? A band or a width, if you will, where 9 yards compared to FanDuel's line is nice. But if we could get this at like 20 yards, that would be incredible, right? Because with receiving yards, 1 or 2 yard difference, that's nice, but it's not nearly as impactful as if we're talking in like NHL, Ovechkin shots on goal. If we can get him over 2.5 compared to over 3.5, that's a big deal. Receiving yards, not as much. So if you're new to sports betting, you need to understand, depending on the market and the sport that we're wagering on, some things carry more weight than others. And so there's hopefully a better example with NHL shots on goal compared to receiving yards. So that's where I would say, yeah, this is a fine play, but I'm not like super excited about it. Let's go over the arbitrage tool, right? Everything that I just explained to you is kind of really picking apart a puzzle. This is not. This is very simple. Day trade the sports books, placing 2 bets on 2 books, taking advantage of the price inefficiencies in the market, making some money. All of these sports books have different odds or prices, right? So the sports books don't allow arbitrage betting, but they can't necessarily stop it. There's way too many items to wager on over at BetMGM or DraftKings that we're really finding the handful of plays out of the hundreds of thousands of different odds available on the sports books. We're finding the handful of plays for a brief moment in time, they're available for us to wager on. You bet the over on Sabrina on her points on MGM. You bet the under on SportsZeno. This is actually better over at Props Builder, and you can day trade these books to make a good profit. So on Props Builder, you can get this at minus 217. This is really good, right? Maybe you bet $200 on the under, $70 on the over. You're going to make like $18 to $20 no matter what happens, right? Why? Because when the plus odds number is bigger than the minus odds number, you can day trade these books and make a profit. It's how I got started 4 years ago. It's a great time. It's a great time. Now, this top play would be the one you'd want to go after on Sabrina. The rest of these plays are under 2% EV, under 2% ROI. I can't answer for you if this is worth it to you or not, right? Only you can answer, is it worth your time to maybe bet $50 on the over for Lawrence Butler, bet $38 on the under, and make a $1.50 profit? If that's not worth it to you, that's fine. You found your threshold. If this is worth it to you, then you have a lot of really nice opportunities right here to make some good money. So when we're looking at our filter setup with OddsJam and the arbitrage tool, I just have the Arizona books set up right now. But if I went after the global sports books, that's going to offer a lot more opportunities. I don't have a minimum maximum odds because I don't care what their odds are. We're just day trading the books. So you really shouldn't care if you're betting plus 300s or minus 300s, right? Because you're going to find just great value. Now, I do care about, for this, maybe we're looking at 10% max. We're looking for maybe a minimum of 2, right? Maybe you want to go after only plays that have a minimum of 2%. You can see there's 17 results here. If you guys want to try OddsJam 1 week for free, day trade these books and then save 35% off your first month after the 1 week trial ends, use code Billy35. You're going to get 35% off. You can use OddsJam recommended book weights. I like to use Pinnacle at times, but you can use OddsJams. And then if you want to look for plays for today, you can do that. There's only 5. You want to look for the next 7 days. You want to start to lock in some NFL and college football plays. I would select the next 7 days. Markets, you can select them all. I typically don't like to go after alternate markets. You can see our results goes down a lot. If you don't mind going after alternate markets, take a look. And now you can see this Sabrina plays really, really good. And then if you just wanted to bet Louisiana team total over, you could do that here because this is an ARB to Pinnacle. And anytime it's an ARB to Pinnacle, that's typically a very good play to place a straight wager over at FanDuel. So you're not going to bet the under on Pinnacle because if you live in the United States, you can't bet on Pinnacle. But you just bet the over on FanDuel. So this is where you could see the same with Arizona State on the over 8.5. Now, I could get into a whole lengthy discussion here on how I don't feel like this is maybe all that good of a play because ASU is probably either going to score 0, 3, 7, 10, or 14 points in the first quarter, right? Those are the key numbers in football. So getting the over 8.5, I don't really care about because the over 8.5 and the over 7.5 is the same exact thing. It's the same thing. Over 7.5, 8.5, 9.5 is all the same thing, barring maybe a missed extra point. So this is not that big of a deal to me. So if you're going to bet the over 8.5, then I'd rather you bet the over 9.5 because you're going to get better odds, and it's pretty much the same thing, right? But that's understanding football scoring and key numbers, and we've made a couple of videos. I just dropped one on the Odds Jam channel this past Saturday that talked about key numbers. I would highly advise go over to the Odds Jam channel and take a look at that video. But if you guys are enjoying these insights, this is what you can gain from me working with me one-on-one with coaching. I offer a free 30-minute discovery call where I have a couple different packages, and we can see if there's a right package and a good fit for you when it comes to coaching. Because a lot of people don't understand that this over 10.5 is a very key number for Louisiana, right? You're typically hoping then that they score 13 or 14 points in this game. So over 10.5 or over 11.5 doesn't mean much of a difference to me betting on the team total for Louisiana because it's the same thing. They got to get a touchdown and a field goal. They got to get 2 touchdowns or a touchdown and 2 field goals or 2 touchdowns and a missed extra point, right? So the over 10.5, the over 11.5 doesn't really mean anything to me. So let's take a look at the EV tool right now. And the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to look at some MLB home runs and strikeouts. And then we're going to jump into some NFL and college football money line spreads and totals. Because that's when you should be betting your money line spreads and totals on the NFL and college football. It's not 30 minutes before kickoff on Saturday or Sundays. It's right now. That's where you're going to get your value. Let me catch up on the questions real quick. Jack, not so much. It's a good question. I mean, I would look at a plus EV play and then just try to get a slightly better price over there. I don't originate. I don't have a model. And so there's nothing there that I have that I can start to originate on my own. Obviously, there's some good discords like Juice Bets and Edge Zone. And, we'll kind of drop a couple links in here, guys. So first things first, before we get in here. Exactly, Anton, exactly. So for coaching, if you guys want to connect with me for free 30 minutes to find out where you live, your risk tolerance, set up an appointment over on my Calendly. You can take a look at that. We talked about how I think there's a couple really solid discords out there. Juice Bets is one of those guys. If you want to try them 3 days for free, I'm a real big fan of the Juice Bets Discord. And then also the Edge Zone Discord. And really the Edge Zone Matrix, that's a real game changer. I think it's fantastic. And so what I would do here is just check out this link as well. This is going to be for Edge Zone. If you want to check either one of those out, they're fantastic. And obviously, Juice Bets is where Arb Father and Arbologist is at. If you're into Juice Bets, that's where Trev and Mitch are over there. They're great. So we're going to look at some player home runs. We're going to look at a minimum of plus 100 and a maximum of plus 600, right? DVIG settings, we're going to look at Pinnacle, and we're going to look at Additive. And then we're going to obviously be looking at Major League Baseball. I took a sneak peek over at Ballpark Pal. The game in Oakland, Red Sox and the A's, really good hitting conditions. Really solid hitting conditions. So the next thing that we're going to do, Ballpark Pal, right? Honestly, if you guys were going to take a look, I don't have a code to shill. My email address is up here. If you have questions, email me. It's $10 a month. And what you're going to see here is we're looking at Sutter Health Park in Sacramento. Really good hitting conditions. Angel Stadium, not bad. Dodger Stadium, not bad. Some places like Seattle and Philadelphia where conditions are pretty neutral. But like San Francisco, not great. Miami, Cleveland, not great. So I'm really going to be interested in the Dodgers game, the Angels game, and the Red Sox game. That's where I'm really interested. So like right here, Yohan Moncada over to go deep at Ballybet. We talked about Angel Stadium. This looks like a pretty solid play. Plus 460. Don't forget, FanDuel has a boost, right? So maybe you don't have Ballybet. That's okay. What we can do is we can log in over to FanDuel, assuming that they're still running their baseball home run props, which we'll double check here in 1 second because now that football season's back, they might have just said, screw Major League Baseball. But typically on Tuesdays, they run profit boosts. And yeah, it's a 30% boost. It kind of sucks. I think it used to be 50. So we can run this on Moncada, right? We can come over here to FanDuel. I can claim this right now. Right? If you guys don't know, make sure you claim it. Max wager for me is $10. And I'm just going to go down here to this Angels-Twins game, and I'm going to bet this over for a player to go deep. Batter props, Moncada. Obviously, it's plus 350, but I can get this profit boost right here for 30. Makes it plus 455, which is slightly worse than plus 460. Okay, now I'm okay with that. Or if you wanted to find a FanDuel play like on Byron Buxton right here, maybe instead of Moncada, we hit up Buxton instead, right? Where we can get Buxton at plus 265, but now we can get this boost where I can get this at now plus 346. Getting this at plus 346 over on FanDuel creates a 26.5% edge. So I'd rather do that than the Moncada play, right? We take Buxton, I throw this in, max wager $10. We add the reward. I don't just tell you what to bet. I also put my money where my mouth is. If you can appreciate that, make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video. Bingo. So we're going on Buxton today. You find decent hitting conditions, and then you find a play that's plus EV. You slap a boost on top of it. Bingo. It's just that simple. That's the recipe for success. So I'll throw the odds boost over here. $10. There we are. Byron Buxton. Buxton has almost a 28.5% chance of going deep compared to Moncada, which is 19.5%. So if you like those increased percentages, then bet Buxton, right? But we're going to also sprinkle this over on Moncada, assuming that I can get this over at Desert Diamond. Anything that's above plus 413 odds is a really good play. So I'm going to go log in at Desert Diamond. Again, that's a Canby Sportsbook, Bet Rivers, Bet Parks, Bally Bet Guys. Take a look at that. Man, we're just kind of rocking and rolling right now. Feels like I'm in mid-season form. I do apologize, guys, about the morning stream. Had full intentions. Forgot to set an alarm, apparently. I thought I set the alarm. You guys have heard that one once before. So we will be streaming tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Eastern for sure. So now we got Moncada, right? MLB. We come over to Moncada, and we're going to come down here to the Twins-Angels game, right? It's going to be a similar setup. We're just going to go to batter props, or you can just go to batter home runs, right? And if you look at Moncada, he's at plus 460. So OddsJam is actually inputting the incorrect odds here. Now they're telling me to bet $120. I'll just knock this down. I'll put this at 125. Okay, so we'll put this at 125 for Moncada to go deep. And bingo. There we go. We're in. Over at Desert Diamond. Really good edge. I like this play. We'll put it for 125. And I'll just type in Desert Diamond. Odds tracker over the bet tracker at OddsJam is completely free. Been using it for 4 years. It's awesome. Okay. So I'm going to bypass the Montgomery play, but Shea Langeliers. We talked about over in Sacramento where the A's are playing right now. Really good hitting conditions. And again, Canby is offering great props on Langeliers. So I like this. They're telling me to bet 130. I'll just flat bet this again for a 125 spot. So we want to make sure that we're getting odds of plus 330. This is the best park in Major League Baseball today in terms of hitting conditions that we want to go after. Langeliers plus 330. I love it. I like it. I love it. I want some more of it. Bingo. So if one of these guys goes deep, whether it's Moncada or Langeliers, I'm having a great time. I'm making really good profit, right? I don't expect both of these guys to go deep, but if one of them does, I'm very happy. That's the idea when you're betting long shot underdogs. I made a video in the past talking about that if your sports books are limited, you want to start dabbling with these long shot underdog plays or positive EV strategies that maybe you're not familiar with. This is the case because with your limited accounts, you can't bet as much. You might only be able to bet $5, $10, $20. That's the perfect testing grounds to try out these positive EV plays. So what else would we be looking for? Teoscar Hernandez. We talked about the Dodgers. Decent conditions. It's not awesome, but it's decent. MGM, DraftKings, Bovada. This is where we want to go after this, or Onyx, right? I think I'm out of money on Onyx at the moment, but this would be a really good play that you could go after and hit this up over at maybe Bovada, maybe at BetMGM. Anton said, this home run formula is the only thing that kept me profitable at MLB. It's the truth. Appreciate that, Anton. Appreciate that. It's pretty simple. Now, if you guys want to get deeper into the weeds on maybe Hernandez, I think German Marquez is pitching tonight. You could get into, well, if Marquez is maybe more of a breaking ball pitcher and Hernandez struggles against breaking balls, or maybe he excels at it. Okay, right? Or maybe the pitcher is more of a fastball pitcher and Hernandez just excels against hitting the fastball. You can get deeper into the weeds if you want to, or, historical matchups, because obviously the Rockies and the Dodgers play each other a lot. But the idea here is like if you're finding plays that have an edge and it's good hitting conditions, make the bet. That's all it is. It's pretty simple. Outside of that, I'm not saying that Montgomery or Giancarlo or Kerry Carpenter isn't going to go deep in their respective games today. It's just that I don't really like the hitting conditions over there, so I'm just not going to bet it. Okay, and that's pretty much it. That's how I would use our profit boost. Outside of that, Will Smith, if you want to slap your boost on top of him, you can do that, but I would prefer Buxton because it's more EV edge. It's a better fair win percentage, 28.4 compared to 19%. So I would just prefer that, but you could do that on Will Smith if you wanted to. And that's pretty much it, right? And that's going to be kind of the same thing that we use for pitcher strikeouts, right? If you want to go on minus, let's clear this out. And we go minus 150, and we go to maybe a plus 130. It kind of changes day by day, but it's pretty much the same. We go to FanDuel, we go to worst case, and then we're going to change this market, and we're just going to type in strikeouts. Again, with OddsJam, guys, you can set up all of these filters specifically. You don't have to do what I do, which is type these all in. You can just go after these one by one. So then the other thing that we would look to do in this scenario is we're going to come over here and pull up MLB team rankings, right? Teamrankings.com. I'll throw this in here down the bottom. Baseball season's still going on. I know that all we care about is football, but on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, we need the WNBA and we need the MLB to kind of carry us until the NBA and college basketball and the NHL come back. So in this case, if we're being recommended to bet Jack Leiter over 4.5 Ks, looks like that price just changed. So let's refresh this. So Zach Littell or Jack Leiter on SportsZeno, if we're being recommended to bet these plays, we obviously want to go after teams that don't strike out a lot. Littell, to my knowledge, I believe pitches for the Reds. He does. He pitches for Cincinnati. So we're being recommended to bet the under. Well, the good news here is that San Diego strikes out the third least amount in Major League Baseball. And at home, the Padres strike out the second least amount in Major League Baseball. So again, we're being recommended to bet a pitcher on their under. We see that the team that he's throwing up against doesn't strike out a lot. That provides me a lot of confidence in betting that under. That's the recipe for success. It's very simple. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, rinse and repeat, and move on to the next one, right? So if we're looking at Jack Leiter over 4.5 Ks, and I understand some of you guys might not have SportsZeno, the Rangers are at home, so Milwaukee's on the road. The problem is Milwaukee strikes out the fifth least amount in Major League Baseball on the road. So because of that, this is where I would dive a little bit deeper into the weeds, looking at bookmakers, circa FanDuel. Those are my three favorite books for pitcher strikeouts. Pinnacle would be in fourth place, and I want to just look at then line movement. FanDuel's chilling, bookmakers chilling, right? We can throw in circa if we wanted to. This is the beauty of the Platinum plan with OddsJam, guys, looking at historical line movement, seeing what's what. You can see that Pinnacle's moved the most out of all of the books. And so my early indications are they were at minus 102. They're now going to minus 107. I'm probably still just going to stay away from this play in general, right? So, Ken, who I like to go deep. I liked Byron Buxton. I liked Yoan Moncada. They're playing in the same game. I liked Shea Langeliers. Those were my three guys. Langeliers, Moncada, and Buxton. Use the boost on FanDuel for Buxton. Hit up Moncada and Langeliers on any kind of Canby sportsbook. And again, because Ken is a supporter of the channel, that's why he kind of gets a little bit extra in-depth and a little extra time with his answer, because he goes above and beyond to support me. So if you guys go over to my YouTube homepage, go to memberships, there's two different features there. One starting at $1.99 a month, one at $4.99 a month. If you want to become an OG or a DGen, you kind of get preferential treatment when it comes to the chat, when it comes to certain polls that we're going to run up. I might make sure that I give you guys the time of day. You kind of steer the stream when it comes to this. This play looks very good on Mitchell Parker, under 3.5 strikeouts. He pitches for the Nationals. The Marlins are at home. So Miami is above average, not striking out a lot. So they're okay. So betting this under 3.5, I'm all right with this. I don't like that bookmakers at plus 102. We can kind of jump into the weeds a little bit more to see and say that, yeah, this is okay. This would be a light sprinkle. So if they're telling me to bet 270, I would bet half of that, and that's where would be my play over at DraftKings. Dan, what's going on, brother? What's going on? Kyle Hendricks, over 3.5 strikeouts. Onyx, DraftKings. Again, Circa, FanDuel, pretty aligned here. Bookmakers a little bit off. But let's take a look at this play for Hendricks. Pinnacle dropped off a cliff very recently. That's a very strong indicator for me. We like this play on Hendricks over on Onyx. So literally what I'm going to do right now is I got to go make a deposit over on Onyx because I think I'm out of dough. Onyx, guys, it's really made for me a comeback, okay? I know I've been posting a lot about Onyx. They got a nice little SGP boost going on today as well. I just got to add some cash over here, and I'm just going to add $100 because I can't remember my balance right now in my bank account, but I should be able to have no problem for $100. And we're going to hit up this Kyle Hendricks play over 3.5 strikeouts, okay? Now, he does pitch for the Angels. I know we just bet Buxton to go deep. Again, he can still get his strikeouts, and Buxton hits a solo home run, right? Doesn't necessarily mean that Buxton's going to hit a 3-run bomb. All right, and we're going to try to hit this up really quickly. So let's see. All right, we're in. Perfect. And I got the receipt. We're in. Great. All right, so we're in here. So we're going to go look for this over 3.5 at -110. We got to move quickly, guys. So we're looking for MLB. And then we're going to this Twins game. Where are we at? Bingo. I got, 101? We'll bet 101. I don't care for Onyx so much. Can we get it? Hendricks over 3.5. This looks to be really good. Pinnacle just moved to -144. Sometimes you get that error message, guys. Just hit place bet again. Normally, it will go through. Sometimes it takes a minute, but normally it will go through. There we go. We're in for $101 on Hendricks. So we bet this for 101 over on Onyx. Whoop. There it is. And it literally just moved to -125. So I don't know if I moved the market. I don't think so. It was only a $100 wager. Maybe they do. Apologize, guys. Maybe I should have told you to go bet that right now because it's gone because it moved to -125. There we go, Anton. Appreciate that, man. -105 on Novig if anyone has access. So, okay, Chad Patrick over on Bookmaker. Every now and then, Bookmaker can catch some action from me. But it really depends if FanDuel's the one that moved. So FanDuel hasn't moved at all. I don't like that Bookmaker's the one that moved. Because Texas is at home and they're kind of middle of the pack in terms of striking out. So I'm just going to probably leave that one alone, okay? If you're looking at Jeffrey Springs, under 4.5 Ks, again, over at Novig, this looks decent. Let's dive into this really quickly. FanDuel's chilling. And if you guys try the 1-week free trial, make sure when you talk to the people over at OddsJam that you're looking to tell them that Billy said you could try Platinum 1 week for free because this is where you're going to be able to access these books. I mentioned earlier, guys, sometimes when it comes to this breakdowns and what I'm specifically betting, I know that I'm talking at a very fast rate. So that's where booking that free 30-minute discovery call with me to see if there's a fit for coaching. That's where we can dial you in no matter the sport and get you on the right track to betting the best markets, giving you the fast track to success. So you're just going to get the absolute best. Instead of you trying to figure out what markets and what books and what's the best tandem, I've been doing this for 4 years. So I'm just going to be able to give you the information right up front, the stuff that maybe I don't always include in videos. And that's where you're going to be able to really find out, how this is going to be able to work for you. So no matter if it's baseball or college basketball or tennis, NFL, doesn't matter. You're going to have a game plan ready to go. So there's a lot of no vig plays right now. As you could see here on Zach Gallen, Casey Mize, Noah Cameron, there's less than $500 liquidity on these plays. Same with Sheehan. So I'm not against this. Not at all. So if I'm looking at San Francisco at home, right? Yeah, they're at home because the bottom team's always at home, guys. So the Giants are kind of middle of the pack. Zach Gallen under 4.5 Ks. I like this. I like the fact that, Circa and Bookmaker are aligned, but they're all kind of aligned together. FanDuel's the one that's a little off here. So this is where I can see that, Circa just moved quite a bit. And this is the most powerful indicator for me. Within the last hour or 40 minutes, they move their price. So I would be willing to say that I might just stay away from the gallon play. Casey Mize, looks like that moved a touch. But I like the Casey Mize play because all of these books are aligned with the same price. Now, for the Yankees, they're at home. And the Yankees strike out top 10 in majors. So I like this Casey Mize over 4.5 Ks over on no vig. I would go grab that one right now. That's probably my favorite no vig play right now. And typically Cleveland, I can't remember who Noah Cameron pitches for. He pitches for the Royals. Okay, so this over 4.5, I don't mind this as well. Because while Cleveland's at home, Cleveland strikes out top 7 in Major League Baseball at home. And looks like someone just took all of it because I did like that play. That was a solid play. But that was good. Dang. Well, Anton, I mean, it depends on the market. Depends on what sport and what market you're betting into. You know, if there's $300 liquidity for WNBA player props, I get a little nervous about that. If it's NFL, main line play, money line, no problem at all. So it's going to depend on the market. It's going to depend on the sport and the market, and it's going to depend on what the other sharp sports books have liquidity set out for. So there isn't a one-size-fits-all answer there. It's very specific depending on what we're going after. All right, let's take a look now at some NFL and NCAA plays in terms of moneyline spreads and totals. Okay, so we're going to click NCAA and NFL, and we can do a couple things. So the first thing that I like to do is we can look at Circa or Pinnacle, and we're going to go after mainline markets, okay? And we're going to look at this for a custom date range. We're going to look at from now to Sunday, or we can even take in Monday, okay? I'm fine with that because now that week 1 of the NFL is officially over, we're good to go. Would love to hear from you guys how your fantasy football team did. Did you have an awesome week? Did you have a terrible week? I ended up losing pretty bad, and I had Christian McCaffrey on my team. But, you know, when you substitute in Tua for Dak, yeah, no bueno. So let's kind of take a look here at some of the best plays. Now, you're going to see like the onesie books like SportsZeno. You're going to have a great time with SportsZeno. It's going to be pretty simple to beat. First half money line. Remember, guys, you can tie this, right? This can be a push with Tulane. So take a look at that. Dan, yeah, I mean, if you're looking at live, that's all of your bets currently going on at the moment. So if there is someone in play on underdog, that's where your bets are going to be shown for sure. So let's talk about some plays that I would like and I don't like. So I don't really like the Delaware plus 9.5. This is great if you can get Connecticut at minus 9.5, but plus 9.5 isn't all that good because in my opinion, I'm thinking, well, what if they lose by 10? Because 10 is very likely. Right now, if they lose by 3 or 7, that's fine, but I don't like the plus 9.5. If we're looking at over and unders, maybe Old Dominion, Virginia Tech, you can see that Pinnacle's taken $1,300 here. There's only $600 liquidity over on this over, so that's half of the liquidity that's available on Pinnacle. I'm totally fine with going after this play, right? Now, another book that sometimes I will look to lean on from time to time is also Bookmaker, but we'll just go through some Pinnacle plays at the moment. This under 43.5 Minnesota, California, you can see that Pinnacle thinks that this is minus 131. Now, what you can also do is open up this event page, and we could say, what do the other sharp books have this as? So Circa is at minus under 43. Bookmakers at 43. I'm sorry, BetOnline's at 43. Bookmakers at under 42. So this is a great play on BetMGM. Getting this under at 43.5 is fantastic. If this is a 23-20 game, you're going to be happy that you bet the under 43.5 on Minnesota and Cal, right? So these are little things that you want to go after when you're looking for. Getting that extra half point is a really big deal over at MGM because a lot of sharp books have this at either 42 or 43. So you get that extra half point. That's the difference sometimes between winning and losing. Right? And even though that this is 2.86%, they're just devigging this to Pinnacle. If you would take into equation where all the other sharp sports books have the main line, I think that this is probably a 4% edge play. I'd put 1.5 units or maybe even 2 units on this play. Okay? So these are some little things that you want to look for. And so one of my other favorite things to do is just open up the sportsbook screen at OddsJam. And then what we're going to do is we can look at college football, and then we'll look at the NFL, okay? And what I want to do here is you can see I have Circa here. I also want to include Bookmaker, all right? And I understand maybe I have too many books opened up at once, so that's fine. What book can I maybe remove? We can remove NoVig at the moment. I don't really care about NoVig, not as much at the moment. Okay, so the idea here is now here's all my sharp sports books right here, okay? So if we want to look at point spread, we'll look at point spread. So here's all my sharp books. Circa's at -110 for the +7.5 on Wake Forest. Can we get this at -7 or +7? Okay, now I bet this earlier a day or two ago over on Wake Forest +7.5 because that's a key number, okay? Certain numbers that are going to be key and not so key. So I don't really have a play here on the Wake Forest play, but we're just going to kind of scroll and peruse, and we're going to see, do the sharp books have this kind of aligned in general, right? Are they all aligned on the same play? So for here, you could see that Wisconsin, Alabama, Pinnacle, Circa, and Bookmaker all have this at 21, plus minus. Well, what do you know? That old BetMGM and Hard Rock have this at 20.5. And I would be willing to go Alabama at -20.5 because while we're getting the same price as the sharp books, this is very important, getting this at -20.5 compared to -21. So if I have to zoom in a little bit, I can do so. There we go. It's a little bit better. So getting this extra half point of Hard Rock's a big deal. Very big deal. Same with the -3 to -3.5. 3 is the most important number in football. These are little things that you just want to pay attention to, right? We're looking at, all right, all the books, most of the books have this. Well, one has it at 27, one at 28, so I'll kind of move on, right? And we're really looking for I'm looking for these books to have the same odds or same lines. So if we want to come over to the NFL, and if we want to bet on the total points is a little bit easier, right? All the books have this at 48. So I would be interested in either betting the under 48.5 or maybe the over 47.5. So if all the books have this at 48, you could see that obviously FanDuel and DraftKings have the under 48.5, but it's slightly juiced, right? Whereas I'm not really seeing anything for the over 47. I'm going to move on from that Commanders game. If we're looking, though, at, let's see what else maybe we can find. That could be something that could be very valuable. Now, you're paying a little bit of extra juice on DraftKings on this over on the Bears-Lions. Understand, though, that you're paying an extra 8 cents, but 47 is pretty key, right? 27-20 game, 26-21. These are important numbers to think about, right, where we can hit this up. What else do we have? But I'm not seeing anything yet that's like a smash, slam, dunk. But let's just take a second and look to see if we might be able to find something. Nothing there. Now, if you don't like perusing like this, guys, right, we can do the same for the point spread. Steelers. Now, this is where I would say this is a big deal. Now, obviously, I bet the Steelers at -2.5. I got them at this price. You can see, obviously, -3 is, but this half point's a big deal because 3 is a really important number here. Where else could we maybe find something? So, plus -6.5, right? So to get this at -6.5 compared to -7, I don't want to bet the -7 over on FanDuel. To get them at +7, though, for only maybe a little bit extra, because Bookmaker has this at -110 at +6.5. You can get this at +7. I like that a little bit more. So maybe there isn't anything that's like a smash home run play that we're seeing right now, but these are little things that you can do. And if you want to look at money line plays as well, this is a little bit easier to say, hey, you know what, the sharp books have it here. Maybe we can find a good price over here. There we go, Jack. There we go, bro. So let's take a look now. Let's zoom out just a little bit, and we can kind of pull this in. And if we want to look specifically for just NFL plays, we can do that as well. Okay, let's see. What do we have here? Under 46.5. It's at -153 on the Cowboys and the Giants. I don't know if you watched the Giants offense this past weekend. Kind of crap. Not bad over at FanDuel. Pinnacle's taking $3,000 currently at the moment. This is 18 cents off over at Hard Rock. It's still 15 cents off over at FanDuel. I don't mind the under 46.5 over here. Taking the Bills at -6.5 is a key number. They win by 7. You're in really good shape. Jaguars and the Bengals at the under 50. You could see that Pinnacle's at -122. If we look at this under 50 and we want to look at maybe some other books, this under 50, this is where you can kind of open it up and you could see that, bookmakers at under 49 at -110. Some of the sharp books are the under 49.5 at -110, -115. BetDSI is a global book. I'll double check to see if this is real or if it's fake, because if it's real, I'm betting this under on the Jaguars and the Bengals. Now, here's the key thing, guys. OddsJam software is going to tell you that this is only, 1.37% edge. But in my opinion, we're talking about the NFL here. This is a main point spread, main over-under point line, right? And then you have all these other sharp books that you can reference. I think this is a really big deal. Really big deal. And it is. Under 50 is out there. So I'm betting way more than $90 here, right? I'm going to probably bet like a $250 or $300 spot because I think this is massive. So I'm going to go bet this over at BetDSI for $300. So the one difference here when you're using the EV tool, some of you guys that are new to EV betting and are just following this will say, big whoop, Billy. Like, this isn't that big of a deal. But when you take the other 3 sharp sports books, Circa, Bookmaker, BetOnline, with Pinnacle, and you throw that aggregate together, I believe that this is a bigger edge. You're not going to be able to compute maybe this in terms of a tool and telling you exactly what to bet, but this is me just understanding that I've been underbetting my edge for a long time, and being able to bet this under 50 is a really big deal. Because worst case Ontario, if it's a 27-23 score, I get that as a push, right? So that's where I'm really focused in on certain plays. You can see that BetDSI, this is just a stale number. I'm all over this. All over that under 50. Love that. Broncos and the Colts, under 42.5. 8 cents off to Bookmaker. 11 cents off to Pinnacle. If we open this play up and we take a look at the Broncos and the Colts, where does Circa have this line at? That's where I want to know. Where do they have this line at? Now, Circa is at 43, okay? So we're getting a half point less at -105. BetOnline's at under 42 at -105. I'm still okay going after this on FanDuel, right? And I would say I don't have as much confidence in this under as I do the Bengals game, but I still like this play. So I would go after this and grab this over on FanDuel. If you don't like betting unders, then I'm going to tell you that you're probably going to miss out on some very profitable opportunities to bet some unders. Okay, so Broncos and the Colts under 42.5. This is probably going to be an alternate line, possibly, maybe not. Nope, it's right here. And I'm not going to throw my bonus bet on that, but I am going to maybe go in for $210 to profit $200. And there we go. There we go. So I'm in on that play. So we're going to kind of finish up the stream right now, guys, with taking a look at some more DFS plays. But hopefully you guys are finding some value in this, right? Your buddies are going to ask you, yo, bro, who should we be betting like 20 minutes before the game kicks off? And you're like, dude, don't, because you're not going to beat mainline spreads, money lines, totals on the NFL if you're waiting 20 minutes before kickoff. Now, the Colts at +2.5, this is a very key number, and I don't like this. While this is 9 cents off to Pinnacle, remember, +2.5 is really important. I'd rather get them at +3. So I'm not interested in this. So my kind of philosophy this year, guys, is I'm not going to be betting what I believe is bad numbers. Now, again, the Colts win by 1. If they lose by 1 or 2, that's a big deal. If it's a 30-29 game at the end, or if it's a 17-16 game and they kick a game-winning field goal and win, 19-17, Broncos win, then, we cover the spread. But for me, I'm just not going to go after the +2.5. Just not going to do that. All right, let's take a look at some other plays on the DFS Optimizer. We're streaming again tomorrow, guys, at 9 a.m. Eastern, 6 a.m. Pacific. We're going to be looking at some more moneyline spreads and totals for the NFL. We're going to be paying a little bit more attention to player props for the Commanders and the Packers as injury reports. Remember, guys, these are mostly walkthroughs for the guys that are playing the Thursday night game. So, because the Packers and the Commanders both played on Sunday, it's kind of a walkthrough practice. It's not really a legit practice, but you want to pay attention to Underdog NFL on injury reports to know who's questionable, who's doubtful, right? If you see someone that's doubtful right now for injury reports, it's a very high likelihood they're not going to play. Questionable gets me a little nervous. 6-leg entry. Okay, like I said, I'm not really interested in 6-leg entries. If you guys want to rock a 6-leg pick over on Rebet, check it out. If you guys have questions, email me, DM me. Don't hesitate to reach out. My over on Twitter or X. Make sure I get this right. Take a look. Yeah, Orty, I play a lot of anytime props. I don't necessarily play them right now. I would say that would be something that as we get into, I stopped betting moneyline spreads and totals for the NFL around Friday, and that's where I start to look into some anytime props because I'm really paying attention to the injury reports and who's in and who's out. You can bet some anytime props now if you want to, but I would say the only time I'd look for anytime props right now is maybe if I'm betting the Thursday night game. So, but make sure you guys pay attention to the injury reports and take a look at the weather because the Commanders and the Packers, I can't remember if this is in Washington or Lambeau, but they're both outdoor stadiums. Let me double check. It is, this game's in Green Bay, so it's going to be in Lambeau. So you want to take a look at the weather over in Green Bay to make sure that it's pretty decent. And I'll take a quick look at that. Weather in Green Bay on Thursday is 74 degrees and cloudy with a 10% chance of rain, which I'm not too worried about. So, yeah, I like that. Over here on Rebet, this is a 2-leg parlay that I am a little bit interested in right now. Sabali under 4.5 rebounds. Okay. I could get in on that. There's also a 2-leg play over here on Flip. It's only the 1% edge. Okay. We'll see about that. So no concerns for Thursday for the weather in Green Bay. But definitely take a look at that. It's going to be important to pay attention to the weather. All right, guys. That's kind of the stream. That's where I'm going to take a break for today. Back tomorrow at 9 a.m. Eastern, 6 a.m. Pacific. Guys, have an awesome Tuesday. And we'll talk to you guys manana. All right, guys. Take care.